that's pretty much how I felt by the end of this. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel for another brand new movie review. Today, we are hopping back on Netflix to look at a brand new original feature, The Devil All the Time, written and directed by Antonio Campos, and starring an absolutely humongous ensemble cast featuring Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Bill Skarsgard, Sebastian Stan, the list goes on and on. A young man is devoted to protecting his loved ones in a town full of corruption and plenty of sinister characters. Now, this film is actually based off of the novel of the same name written by Donald Ray Pollock, who actually also lends his voice to the movie to be the narrator. Personally, I thought that was a really amazing touch. Reminded me a lot of A Christmas Story in that regard. And before I get any further into the video, thank you all so much for stopping by and clicking on it. I hope you guys enjoy your stay. I am super excited to be here and discussing cinema, all things entertainment with you guys. And if any of my viewers are new here, welcome. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can to continue discussing these things with me. But man, I am just so overwhelmed by The Devil All the Time. Where do I even start with this? Now, this movie does run 2 hours and 18 minutes, kind of on the longer side, and it's filled with dramatic and thematic brilliance that is, for the most part, psychologically brutal. I felt like a certain character by the end of this movie. I felt like I needed a nap after watching it, which is partly because when I was watching this movie, it ended around midnight. Smart move on my part. But the biggest praise that I can give this movie is actually this star-studded ensemble cast and their performances. Now let's start with Tom Holland, who is basically the character this film revolves around, and I thought he was absolutely magnificent in this movie. I will say also at first, I was really caught off guard by the accent that Tom Holland has. I was sitting there watching it and I was like, okay, that's the voice coming out of Tom Holland? Damn, it is. But I thought his drawl was right on point, and he really gets to show a different character than we're used to seeing from him. I thought he was great, a really transformative performance. Bravo, Tom Holland. I cannot wait to see what else you got coming up. Now, on Twitter, I also saw one review that said Tom Holland was not funny enough in this movie, essentially saying that he was not Spider-Man, and they just wanted him to be Peter Parker. Now, I got news for that person. He's an actor. Let him show his range. Pretty please? No, but he was great in the movie. Now, speaking of range, even though he wasn't in the movie for super long, I thought Bill Skarsgard gave a really strong performance as well. Again, most people remember him as Pennywise, and he'll probably be Pennywise for the rest of his career, but I was really impressed with the emotional range he has in this film. He plays this battered army veteran that turns to God when something tragic happens to his family. And the things he's willing to do for his savior to save his family are just so mind-boggling. I bought every facet of his performance. And that's another thing, guys. The shit that goes down in this movie, it is startling how much is being thrown at us. Like, for example, there's another subplot with Jason Clarke, who plays this serial killer who uses his attractive wife, played by Riley Keough, as bait for his victims. I thought they were both really fantastic in the movie as well. Sebastian Stan as the town sheriff. Where did this performance come from? He was so good as well, just so corrupt and such a freaking bully. But he still displays a lot of emotional range as well, because his character is going through a lot in his personal life too. Sebastian Stan in this movie reminded me a lot of Woody Harrelson from 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, except without, you know, the dark comedic elements. Now, don't get this thought twisted. The movie definitely does feel like a film written and directed by Martin McDonagh, and I've seen a lot of comparisons to a different movie, There Will Be Blood, specifically, but this is not comedic in any facet. This is a pure psychological dramatic thriller. And I saw a lot of that psychological drama come out of Eliza Scanlon's performance as Tom Holland's character's stepsister. Man, was she good in this movie. And speaking of dramatic performances, oh boy, let's talk about Robert Pattinson, shall we? Delusions! Yes, I've seen the GIFs. And this is a very polarizing performance I've seen, because a lot of people think Pattinson is going way over the top here. I think that was the whole point. I didn't mind it. Pattinson was awesome here. And I gotta commend Robert Pattinson as well for his commitment to the role. So much so that apparently he kept his accent in this film a secret until the cameras started rolling, which is insane. But whatever he's doing, it works. I buy that Robert Pattinson is this really corrupt preacher, and it just makes me so happy to see this guy coming into his own as an actor. Of course, we all know he has the Batman coming up, but since then, he's been in some really strong features like Good Time and The Lighthouse specifically, and now he's got this to his name. Keep up the good work, Robert Pattinson. You were awesome here. All of these actors in this ensemble were just so strong. I mean, Haley Bennett, Mia Wasikowska, Harry Melling, the list goes on and on. Phenomenally cast, phenomenally performed. Bravo to all. I also gotta say, I really loved the direction of this movie by Antonio Campos. He really gets the tone just right. I also really love the decision to shoot this movie on film rather than digital. That choice, along with the vintage jukebox style score, it made me feel like I was watching a movie that came out in the 60s today. And shooting on film also brings Campos a great opportunity to play around with these dull beige colors on screen to really help sell the murky, disgusting situation. I loved that attention to detail here. Now, I will say, as far as negatives go, I don't have a ton of them with The Devil All the Time. There certainly are a few nitpicks here and there. Like, this is yet another non-linear narrative that may get too jumpy between the past and the present. I kept track of where we were in the timeline perfectly fine, so that wasn't really my issue. Now, it is also extremely tempting for me to say that this movie might have worked better as a miniseries, just because there's so many characters and little subplots that are going on all at the same time. Sometimes it was a little difficult to keep track of everything, but I feel like the script definitely has a nice way of connecting all these little plot points together. My main issue with this movie is actually the rewatchability factor, because the subject matter in The Devil All the Time is so psychologically brutal, as I've said earlier, and it's almost sickening to watch at times. Like, it almost felt like punishment that we were sitting through this. Not punishment in the sense that it was boring or like a bad movie, but just because of how dark it was and how really just grounded and gritty the material was. It is, no pun intended, devilish. It's not that I couldn't handle the subject matter. I obviously got through the whole thing perfectly fine, but man, it just gave me this really icky feeling of dread as I was sitting there watching it. And I mentioned earlier, by the end of the film, I felt a gigantic sense of relief, like a gigantic weight was lifted off my shoulders. And let me finish this by putting this thought in your guys' minds. Maybe that was the whole idea. Maybe it was the filmmaker's intent to make us feel like we were being punished by sitting through all this stuff. And maybe that's what makes this movie so effective. I do think that despite all of my nitpicks, great performances, great filmmaking, beautifully shot, phenomenally cast also, really intriguing stuff. I'd say this is one of the better movies you guys will be seeing this year. I'm gonna give The Devil All the Time an A-. If I haven't already, let me reiterate. This movie is not going to be for everybody. There's a lot of really graphic material and some really sickening subject matter that may turn a lot of heads away from this. But if any of you guys think you can handle it, I definitely think it's worth at least one watch on Netflix. But like I said, because of this subject matter, it's not a movie I'm going to want to rewatch over and over and over again. But what do you guys think of The Devil All the Time? Have you seen it yet? Are you guys looking forward to seeing it? Are you not looking forward to seeing it after my review? I'd like to hear all of your thoughts and discuss them with you guys down in the comments section below. As I've said, I love discussing the cinema and all things entertainment with you guys, and if you guys want to continue discussing all these things with me, please, one more reminder, hit that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. It would mean the world to me. And also, please be sure if you liked the video to leave a big fat thumbs up on it on your way out. Guys, you all are awesome. Thank you all so much for your support of the channel so far. Thank you for watching the video. Look forward to more fun content coming to the channel very soon. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.